Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We are talking all things FA Cup final, as tomorrow both Chelsea and Leicester will both take to Wembley to battle it out for England's biggest domestic cup trophy in what is set to be a very intriguing and, fingers crossed, and hopefully a very exciting encounter ahead. We're going to be looking at both teams ahead of their clash tomorrow, highlighting key players and key battles across the pitch and so on and so forth. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to previewing tomorrow's FA Cup final between the Blues and the Foxes. Yes, England's biggest domestic cup trophy reaches its finale on Saturday, and it will be played out between Chelsea and Leicester City. For the Blues, it's a chance to win their 9th FA Cup and win this competition for the first time since 2018, where they beat Manchester United in the final that year under the then manager Antonio Conte. Whilst for Leicester, they have the chance to make incredible history by winning this competition for the first time in their history. For Chelsea, there are weird resemblances and parallels to this season when you compare it to the season of the 2011-2012 campaign back then. If you remember, of course, back then Chelsea had changed their manager midway through the season, beginning the campaign with Andre Villas-Boas and ending the season with Roberto Di Matteo, similar to this season where they began with obviously manager Frank Lampard and are now ending it with Thomas Tuchel. Another parallel and another similarity between that season and this is not only that, but also Chelsea made it to both a Champions League and an FA Cup final. Exactly what they managed to do again this season. 9 years ago, they won both competitions. Will history be repeating itself? That is the question. Of course, when you look back at Chelsea's campaign overall, the Blues campaign really began with a lot of promise and a lot of intrigue over the amount of money that they spent in the summer. Frank Lampard went all out in signing several new players from huge amounts of money, spending the most in the Premier League by far. But, of course, Frank Lampard was struggling to come to terms with the task at hand with the club and was ultimately sacked and replaced with Thomas Tuchel, whose style is very different to say the least. Leicester will have to contend with trying to break down a more stubborn and more resolute defence under the German manager, a defence that has managed to shut out the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and in the previous round of this competition, of course, Manchester City. So the Foxes will have their work cut out for them, and it will be interesting, and it will be an interesting tactical battle ahead, I'm sure, between the intricate Thomas Tuchel and Brendan Rodgers. Whilst at the other end, Leicester will have to find a way to keep Chelsea's wealth of attacking options quiet. You know, you think of the likes of Timo Werner, Christian Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech and Kai Havertz in particular, who seems to have really come into form over the past several weeks or so, are just some of the names that are instantly rattled off in the top of my head and instantly spring to mind over how rich Chelsea are in terms of attacking prowess and attacking power. Whilst, of course, like in many games, the midfield battle is key. Former Leicester player N'Golo Kante has really rediscovered his best form recently under Thomas Tuchel, whilst Mason Mount is also in very good form right now. So Leicester will definitely have their work cut out for them across the entirety of the pitch. But of course, Leicester haven't reached this point in the season without being good themselves. They are through to the FA Cup final, obviously, while we're talking about them, and are on the verge of qualifying for next season's Champions League places with a top 4 finish on the cards, possibly. The goals may have dried up for Jamie Vardy over recent weeks, though, but his ability to spring into life at any given moment is obviously what keeps him a very dangerous threat. Whilst his strike partner in Kelechi Iheanacho has been on fire in recent games, providing the goals to not only maintain Leicester's top 4 push in the league, but also to be the hero in the past few rounds of this very competition, getting Leicester to this final seemingly single-handedly. Will these two be able to find a way past a very strong Chelsea defence? A defence that may feature the likes of veteran Thiago Silva, Antonio Rudiger, and likely either Andreas Christensen or Kurt Zouma. Chelsea do like to play a back three, as do Leicester. It'll be interesting to see if those two can find a way past a stubborn and resilient Chelsea backline, and it will be an interesting formation to see them go up against. In midfield, Wilfred Ndidi versus N'Golo Kante looks a very tasty and incredible battle ahead, doesn't it? The combination of both Ndidi and Yuri Tielemans will certainly have their work cut out for them, as I previously discussed, with Chelsea's midfield options at their disposal too. But they are both great and talented midfielders nonetheless, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the Chelsea press, particularly within those key areas in the middle of the park. We briefly touched upon the task at hand for the likes of Kaglar Soyuncu, Johnny Evans and Wesley Fofana in the centre-back positions for Leicester. But a key area for me, and an area that I'm looking forward to seeing the battle of the game, is that I'm looking forward to the battle of the wing-back positions. Now, the likelihood for this battle is that we're likely to see Ricardo Pereira on one side and Timothy Castana on the other side for the Foxes. And going up against them for Chelsea will likely be Reece James on the right and Marcos Alonso on the left. Of course, the Blues could switch it up a bit. They could go with the more experienced Cesar Azpilicueta on the right instead of Reece James. And of course, on the left, they could go with former Leicester player Ben Chilwell, who of course the Foxes will know all about from his time with the club, instead of Marcos Alonso. But if the Blues want a more attacking outfit, then the likelihood is that they will go with James on the right and Alonso on the left. The likelihood is that Leicester may try and execute some sort of counter-attacking game plan. And if that is to be the case, then you may be able to see that Leicester may be willing to surrender possession more to the Blues in an attempt to lure them out, so to speak, and then try and stretch the play, using their wing-backs as a key part of this battle to execute their game plan of a counter-attacking style. Whilst on the other side, of course, we all know what Chelsea's game plan will be with the wing-backs. You'll see Alonso properly push on down that left. He's better at attacking than he is defending. We all know that. He will try and create an overload down that left-hand side, and it will try and push back whoever's playing right wing-back for Leicester. Like I say, take Pereira as an example. They try and push him back, whilst Reece James on the other side will try and push back the other fullback, and it will try and force Leicester into playing more and more of a back five as the game goes on. And I just think this will be a very key part of the battle, because Leicester's game plan will be very simple to achieve. They'll just have to break very quickly, make the right decisions, have the correct execution, and if all of that is made on that day, Leicester definitely have the tools to obviously hurt Chelsea. Leicester have the potential to hurt and to obviously score against this stubborn Chelsea attack. If not, if Leicester aren't on it, if Leicester's execution is all wrong, if they're having not a great day, Chelsea will continue to probe and continue to put Leicester under serious pressure that will maybe tell and force the Foxes to crack eventually. I think, in my opinion, as a neutral, I'm very much looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to a very tactical battle ahead. I think Chelsea go into this game as favourites, which is why I want Leicester to win, as I like a bit of an underdog story. Who doesn't? And not just that, but it would be nice to see Brendan Rodgers win something for the job that he has done at the club. But I said all along, he and his team will have their work cut out for them to make that happen here. But it's certainly a challenge that they can overcome. It's certainly a challenge that is achievable. Leicester can go on to win their first FA Cup trophy in their history, and it would be a great moment for the club, and it would be a great moment for their fans and everybody associated with Leicester Football Club. As for the Blues, a chance to add another FA Cup trophy to their collection and then possibly replicate what they achieved 9 years ago. history, like I say, could be repeating itself of the 2011-2012 campaign that saw the Blues go on to have double success in both this competition, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. Their defence has been seen as much more disciplined and more resolute under Thomas Tuchel since he took over, and it's been an important and major factor as to why Chelsea's season has gone from being poor and underperforming to being on the verge of historic and possible major glory, major triumphs in both of those competitions. I hope this game is as interesting and as exciting on the pitch as it looks to be on paper. And again, whilst my heart says that I want Leicester to win for the underdog story, for Brendan Rodgers, for the club like Leicester, who are very much a people's club, I don't think you can really hate them, even if you are like a neutral fan. Unfortunately, I just don't think they have enough to overcome Chelsea, and that's why I'm going to say that I'm going to go with my head on this one and say that Chelsea will be victorious and claim their 9th FA Cup triumph tomorrow at Wembley. But of course, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the FA Cup so far this season? What do you make of the competition overall? What do you make of tomorrow's final? How do you think both sides will line up? Who do you think the key players are? Key battles, so on and so forth. And most importantly, who do you see lifting the trophy at the end of the game? Which side will win their FA Cup trophy between Chelsea and Leicester? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call them, down below in the comment section. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the right if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video.